So, how do I develop a powerful growth mindset and avoid self doubt? Question number two. First things first, what is a growth mindset? Well, a growth mindset is a belief that skills, intelligence, and abilities can be developed. They can be developed and even improved over time through dedication, through effort, and through learning of experiences. Now, people with the growth mindset view challenges as opportunities, and this is really the key, the core to what we're going to talk about today. People with a growth mindset, they see each challenge, each obstacle, each of these events as an opportunity to grow. They see failures as valuable lessons, ways for themselves to start over with more information, and they believe that they have the power to improve with persistence and resilience. That's the key, persistence and resilience. Now, this mindset fosters openness to feedback. You must be open to feedback. It encourages continuous learning, and support is a positive approach to problem solving and personal development. So, growth mindset is the key here. So, that's our working definition for growth mindset. But again, the question is, how do I develop a powerful growth mindset and avoid self doubt? What do I do daily, Kelly? How do I make this happen for me? What is the purpose? Why would someone ask this question? Well, if you're a high performing individual like yourself, then you want to have a life where you can see challenges as opportunities for growth. So it's not a fear or intimidation factor every time something comes up that you either don't anticipate or that you find particularly challenging. So imagine a life, if you will, where challenges fuel your growth. I mean, you're looking forward to being challenged because you know you're going to grow out of this challenge. Setbacks don't shake you. No matter what happens, you're moving forward, so your confidence isn't shaking when it comes to setbacks, and self-doubt doesn't hold you back. So it's always this onward progression. There's always this onward progression. Someone who has the stamina, someone who has the confidence, someone who has the resilience that no matter what happens in their lives, they're continuously moving forward, moving toward their goals, moving toward that life that they want. This is the power of a growth mindset. That what I just described, that is the power of a growth mindset. So when you develop this type of mindset, you don't just change your perspective. Your paradigm doesn't just shift. You transform your entire approach to life. The way that you see things, the way that you talk about things, the way that you approach events, situations, challenges, all of it changes. So today, what we're going to talk about is how do you build a powerful growth mindset and how do you understand the nature of the I? Because really at the center of all this, the nature of who you really are, the I, the big I, not the small me, this is the part of you that is constant, that is resilient, and no matter what happens around you, that is the part of you that is witnessing these things happen. That is the part of you that is aware. That is the part of you that always stays consistent. Okay. So welcome in, guys, to Rethink. Thank you guys again for hanging out with me today. It's going to be a great podcast. This is question number 2. Last podcast, I told you that I've got my hands on about 15 to 20 different most Google questions by high-performing individuals, and this is just question number 2. Again, the question is, how do I develop a powerful growth mindset? How do I do that? And how do I overcome self-doubt? Because those are two things, the first time we talked about imposter syndrome, this kind of goes hand in hand, the self-doubt piece. There's a lot of that out there. And I would dare say that most of us haven't dealt with it at some point in our lives, in our careers, in our relationships. Me today, if this is your first time, for example, you never listened to this podcast before, never been to this YouTube channel before, hey, go ahead and subscribe. I'm sure you're going to like what you see. And you got about 3.5 seasons to get caught up on because this is our 4th season and we are moving along. This is November when this is being recorded. So we're in the 4th quarter of 2024. You picked a great time to hang out with us. We've got a lot of good content. And old timers, why don't you guys chime in the comments. Let me know how you guys have liked what we've done so far this year. Thank you guys again for sending the fan mail, the text messages, the emails, etc., etc. Thank you so much for just being here every week to help support the podcast. Again, I wanted to say that we've got one link within our podcast notes that shifts out to anything you want to see. If you want to go purchase our gratitude journal, you can do that. If you want to go and purchase our course, the 31 Days to New Beginning, and thank you guys so much that have already purchased. It is doing really well. Thank you guys for doing that. If you want to do that and really change your life in 31 days, you can go and purchase 31 Days to New Beginning. And if you do it on Udemy right now, it's on sale. It's on sale. So, hey, why not? If you want to go to our website, podcast website, YouTube channel, whatever it is, one link on our link tree out there, you can find everything that you need to know. And I'm going to start putting together some merch for us as well. So you guys can buy some Rethink Podcast merchandise. Help support the podcast. Last thing, we are retooling our Patreon site in terms of what we're going to offer our Patreon members. And I think you're going to like it. It's going to involve some live Q&A, some one-on-ones and things like that. And that is going to be ready to go within about a week. So that'll be added to the link tree as well. So anyway, back to the question. How to develop a powerful growth mindset and overcome self-doubt. All right. So let's talk about it. If you're in a relationship, career, entrepreneurship, some sort of health challenge, something in your body, there's a very good chance that we could go through all of this in our lifetime, a couple times. Multiple relationships, career changes, in and out of entrepreneurships, and certainly, in terms of our body, is a one vessel that's with us the entirety of our lives. So a multitude of things could happen. We don't want it to, but given the community and the society in which we live and the choices that a lot of us make with what we put in our bodies, there's a chance we're going to have some challenges with our body because we're not treating it so well. So it's gonna really be key for us to be able to have a growth mindset to kind of get through these challenges. And on top of that, if you are a parent, you want to teach this type of methodology and understanding to your children. Growth mindset is such a powerful tool to have in your toolbox. It is an incredible way to approach your life. It is an incredible and powerful way. It puts the power in your hands when ultimately it doesn't really matter what happens, right? There was last week during the elections here in the U.S. so much energy towards the election. So many people were ecstatic that their candidate won, and then so many people were just completely saddened that their candidate did not. And then some people are just really at their wits' end about what to do. But a growth mindset in terms of being able to push forward no matter what happens. Because last week, you got to remember, we were talking about, was it last week or week before? We have a podcast. I'm getting them mixed up. I'm doing too close together. But we did a podcast maybe 2 weeks ago, a week and a half ago, where we talked about not allowing external things to bother you. I want you to go back. If you were someone that was negatively affected by the outcomes of an election, or simply you're just not feeling great, go back and listen to that podcast. It talks about the power that you have within and how to cultivate that power and how not to allow any external stimuli to break that peace. And then last week we talked, I believe, imposter syndrome. Much of that had to do with understanding who you are innately. So when we start talking about the big I and the little me, we're going to talk about it today, which is why I'm bringing it up. The big I and the little me, that is, from a retrospective standpoint, this is the connectivity that we have to source. So whether you call it God or universe or math or science or whatever it is the higher self. It's a larger part of you that is connected to all there is. Okay, sure. Through your subconscious mind, you're connected to what's called Christ consciousness. So you are aware, or you are connected to all there is. Now, you can live in that understanding, and you can live in that knowingness or not. Many of us are not, because mostly we don't know. Okay. And then those of us who do know, we don't know how. So listen to a podcast like this. We're to understand, not only what it is, but how to do what it is. So in this case, what I'm suggesting to you is that you are much more than your body. You are much more than your mind. I always say it this way. You are not your mind. You have a mind. You are not your body. You have a body. So if you take the perspective of your higher self, that part of you that is connected to Christ consciousness, to all there is, that is the part of you that stays resilient. It is constant. It is unapproachable as it relates to events that happen in this 3D environment. You are part of source energy. You are. You are a creator. And much, I dare say all, of what you see in your external 3D environment is coming from you. We don't understand it, but it is coming from us. And you have but to change the way that you are thinking about what is in order to change your environment. That's why you're listening to this podcast. We're going to get deeper into it. So, a powerful growth mindset isn't just about trying harder, because all of us are trying. It's about grounding yourself in the belief that you, again, as a larger part of you, your higher self, the big I, you're unlimited in the capacity to grow. You're unlimited in your capacity to adapt. You're unlimited in your capacity to succeed. Really, really let this sink in. This is the only way this concept is going to work. If you challenge yourself to believe that you are more than your circumstances, you are more than your environment, you are more than your body, you are more than your mind. And this is going to feel somewhat, difficult for some of us because it's the first time we've heard it. No one teaches you that you are a creator. Why? Because they want to control you. They want you to do what they want you to do. Why would they give you power? So you've got to study and show yourself approved. What I'm telling you is that you have the power to create. You are a creator. You're made in the image and likeness of all there is. So when we're talking about creating a growth mindset, you must come from the standpoint of creation. All right, so let's talk about practical daily methods, things that we can do to enhance that type of methodology, that ideology, support it on a daily basis so it becomes who we are. Because right now, you say, okay, all right, I'm gonna give you about 30 minutes, Kelly, but this is I've never heard this before. Or you can say, you know what, this resonates with me. I don't understand it completely, but I hear you. Let's go. Or you could be someone that says, you know what, I knew it all the time. I knew I was more than my body. I knew I was more than my mind. Now let's talk about how do we make this, more effective for me. You may be in one of those three categories. I know the first time I heard this, I was like, oh, okay, and I heard it again. I said, okay, all right, okay. It settled with me and I understood it. Let's talk about daily reflections and growth experiences. How does this work? At the end of the day, take a few minutes to reflect on what happened to you throughout the day. What was your experience like? Was it big or small? Reflect on what you learned and how it felt for you to grow. So here's an example. Instead of you recounting your day, ask yourself, what did I learn about myself today? What did I learn about myself today? This can be a simple shift in your mind. It can create awareness of personal growth. It can create awareness and also strengthening your growth mindset. Just kind of go throughout your day. What did I learn about myself today? Did you learn that you were more patient than you thought? Did you learn that you were more giving than you ever thought you were? Did you learn that you were, a teacher? Maybe you spent half of the day trying to explain to one of your coworkers how to do their job. What did you figure out about yourself today? Second thing is do your best to refrain from self-doubt and instead substitute it with self-compassion. This is how it works. Self-doubt arises. Pause and practice self-compassion. So many times throughout the day, we get caught up in negative self-talk. If there's one thing, if it's a cancer that is a tremendous, provides a tremendous deficit to a growth mindset, it's self doubt, it's negative talk. And here's the thing about negative talk. There's so much negative talk that you don't realize you're doing it because you're on autopilot. You've done it for so long because it's negative talk in the news, it's negative talk on social media. Your friends are probably talking negative. Customers and coworkers, everybody can be in this downward trend of conversation. Pessimism and negativism. What you want to do is identify when you are talking negative to yourself and substitute it with self-compassion. First of all, you want to identify it because you want to stop it. Why? Because when you are in a negative self-talk, it spirals. It's only going to create more negative self-talk. And so once you stop it and replace it with a positive thought, first thing you are going to say to yourself is, I identify that I am speaking negative to myself. So I'm going to stop now. I'm going to replace it with one good thought. Because if you can do that for 17 seconds, another good thought will come, and then another and another. It is no different than how the negative self-talk starts. It's just that you're on autopilot. You don't even realize it sometimes. You jump in your car, you're laying in your bed, you're exercising, you're walking, whatever it is, and you're in this conversation with yourself, and it's completely negative. It is completely negative. I've done it. And even doing this work, sometimes I hear myself and I'm like, when did this conversation start? It's like I just kind of got here. Like, who brought this up? And you have to stop yourself and get into a positive conversation. So replace the self-doubt with self-compassion. Instead of the self-criticism, recognize that you are worthy. Recognize that growth is an ongoing journey. It's a process. You're not going to get to where you want to be tomorrow. Okay? Give yourself a break. So here's an example. If you're thinking, hey, I'm not enough, replace that thought with, there's an opportunity for me to learn. There's always a positive side of the negative coin. Just flip it over and take that side instead. But this is active. This is something you have to do on a regular basis. It will help, number 3, to visualize your growth journey as well. Take a few minutes every day to visualize the best version of yourself. Visualize the best version of yourself. See yourself growing, prospering, facing challenges with resilience, getting through the challenges successfully, helping other people through their challenges, becoming an expert at this. The practice grounds you in that I, the large I. Okay, it'll ground you in that, the essence of your true self, which is beyond limitations. Beyond limitations. The next thing is effort-based goals. Set effort-based goals. How this works is, instead of outcome-based goals, create goals based on your effort. Focusing on effort encourages growth by emphasizing what you can control, rather than the outcomes, which you cannot. One of the tougher things about this manifestation journey, this spiritual journey, this higher self journey, is understanding that when you do desire something, when you want something, putting out the end goal is really the only thing that you're responsible for doing. What do you want? You say to the universe, you say to Christ consciousness, you say to God, you say to the universe, I want to be free. I want to be abundant. I want this job. I want this wife. I want this husband, whatever it is that you want, put it out there. And then the hard thing is just kind of leave it, because we get into determining how to get to the thing, which is where we can build in resistance, which is where self-doubt comes from. So the difficult thing for me has always been just to put it out there and leave it alone, without any sort of time element, without any sort of, course correction, or without any sort of, hey, I need a sign sort of message. We're just to put it out there, believe that it is done, create those feelings around it, and then leave it alone. So practice that. Effort-based goals. Here's an example. I'll achieve a promotion. Switch it up with, I learn something new in my role each week, and with the hopes that that's going to lead to a promotion. Effort-based goals cultivate resilience, and they strengthen the habit of consistent growth. Consistency is the key. The last thing is gratitude. Like I said before, gratitude is always a part of the recipe. Um, this is how it works. So you can start a gratitude practice. Hopefully, we all have one. Let's start a growth gratitude practice. Acknowledge challenges as growth opportunities and appreciate the lessons that they bring. That part of it is very key. Challenges, because some of them are very difficult. And it's hard to appreciate them when they first come because it's sore, it hurts, it's disappointing. And you're like, what am I to learn from this? Because you don't see it right off. But know that life is bringing you a lesson for a reason. And the reason is to make you stronger, to adapt you to a particular mechanism so that when you are in a position to receive your goal, your achievement, the thing that you desire, that you can sustain it, that you can hold on to it. That's the way I look at it. Here's an example. Write down one challenge or a setback that you have each day or each week. Express gratitude for it. The practice changes your perspective on obstacles, challenges, hurdles, whatever you call them, helps you to see them as an essential part of your development. Again, if you rethink, change the way that you think about these obstacles or challenges. If you see them as a critical part of your development, and if you understand that with each challenge, with each obstacle comes an opportunity for growth, an opportunity to learn something new, then you will welcome that challenge. I mean, if you're in the third grade and you're going to the fourth, you may not want to, but I don't think anybody stands outside the door and refuses to go. We understand that this is part of the process and eventually we're going to graduate. So change your mindset in terms of how you see challenges. That may be part of the most critical part of this process is changing the way that you see a challenge. Welcome it. Know that something good is coming for you out of it, and just something that you can learn from it. All right, guys, let's wrap up. A core part of the growth mindset is connecting again with the larger I, the true self, your higher self. This is untouched by limiting beliefs. So if you can connect with that larger part of yourself, you can be assured that the larger part of you cannot be touched by limiting beliefs. Now, you can't be, John, Jerry, Katie, Mary, whoever, you can be all over the place. But the larger part of you, your higher self, is not really surprised, is not really inhibited, is not really touched by things that happen in the 3D environment. You are more of the awareness. This is the part of you that is constant and it can remain noted in the understanding that every experience, positive or negative, is an opportunity for growth. So I hope you take that with you today. And I hope this was helpful for you. I've learned a lot, as I always do. And if you stood around, hung around all this time, thank you so much for listening to the podcast in its entirety. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast, and we'll ask you to continue to like, share, and comment. But more than that, share with a family member, loved one, friend, or associate. And for that, I will be very, very grateful. And don't forget to check out our link tree in the comments. And it's a good time to support the podcast. So 31 Days, A New Beginning is on sale. This is a good time to pick it up. Thank you. Talk to you soon.